Hello, welcome back for Unit 5 of our American History 1 course at Waldorf University. And as we continue through the course this week, we're turning the corner into the 19th century or the early 1800s. And as we look at this week, there's a lot of different things we could look at, things like the War of 1812. We could look at continued expansion of the American frontier through the middle part of the country, like what I study, usually is the first half of the 19th century. Also, the Louisiana Purchase is a critical event we're going to come through this week. So in this video, I'm going to talk about our skill for the week, which is progress and decline. I'm going to talk about the discussion board briefly, although we do have the other video over there. And then also, I'm going to talk about your Unit 5 assessment, including the essay question on that. So let's dive into it. So this week, we're talking about progress and decline. If you think back to last week, we talked about continuity and change, the objective things that are different or stay the same over the course of a historical situation. Progress and decline is taking those objective continuities and changes and determining for whom were they progress and for whom were they decline. So one of the things students typically struggle with as we work on this skill is thinking about that sometimes things are all progress. One of the ways we might think about this is for Americans, we usually think of the War of 1812 as progress. We think about it as a time where the United States asserted its sovereignty against a British challenge. We were able to legitimize ourselves to many nations throughout the world. But we want to think about, while it was progress for Americans, it was decline for the British, also probably a decline for native peoples throughout the interior of the continent who allied themselves with the British relatively successfully, especially in places like Iowa, where I live, and native power was able to hold the northern Mississippi River against American incursions there. But we can see kind of how this might work there. So my challenge to you over on the discussion board is to look at the Louisiana Purchase. And this is an event we often talk about as being oriented towards American progress, especially in the construct of manifest destiny, America spreading from sea to shining sea. And we could see a lot of progress there for the young American Republic. I want you to look at for whom is it progress, for whom is it decline. We can talk about the European powers. You could talk about it as decline for native peoples who occupy some of those regions. Some of those different kinds of things I want you to think about critically and then have a good conversation over there. As always, continue to bring in meaningful evidence to support the points you're trying to make over on the discussion board, as well as bring in your own unique perspective. I think we've been doing a pretty good job with that so far, but as we get in the second half of the course here, I really want to challenge you to stay on top of that. It could become a little more difficult, or I've noticed a drop off a lot of times starting in Unit 5 on the discussion board. So let's stay focused on that this week and do a good job there of fully meeting the assignment guidelines. You also have the Unit 5 assessment this week, and this is pretty straightforward. It's some multiple choice, it's some drop-down matching. Make sure that you're taking a look at those before you read through the information. One of the things that I often encourage students to do is just print it off, fill it out, and then go back and put your answers in. Also be thinking about the essay question at the end and how you can bring in different evidence to support the arguments you're making. So you're going to be looking at change during the early 19th century, be it political, economic, social change. There's a lot of things happening that we're going to see in the text this week. When it comes to how the economy is functioning, we're seeing a shift in the American economy from mercantilism to capitalism during the early 19th century. We're seeing huge social changes. They relate to religion during the Second Great Awakening, the rise of spiritualism in new ways in the United States, a huge increase in church membership and the number of ministers in the United States. We're also seeing some other social changes happening as well during this time period. So as you're taking a look at this, choose one and make sure you're putting your best foot forward on that essay. If you got questions on any of this stuff, make sure you're reaching out. I'm here to help you however I can. I appreciate the hard work you've put in the course so far, and I look forward to the great things you're going to do this week. Good luck.